The hens are still pecking around, but the cockles definitely...
They know something's happening, don't they? I think they've got a sense.
They probably do spend a lot of their time on guard, if you like, keeping an eye out for potential predators. He's calling him in now.
Here he comes, look at this.
Suddenly, Conan swoops. Because William and Harry had given the aerial alarm call, all the hens were under the bushes and well protected. The flock stays together even under attack. Their keen eyesight means they can immediately detect danger. All the chickens are safe. But how will they react to the fox? After humans, foxes are chickens' greatest natural predator. They will test every bit of fencing around the chicken coop. And if there's a way in, a fox will find it. In the wild, chickens would head for the trees. But in a hen house, there's no escape. So Jane's lot should be worried. They haven't seen our fox yet, but when he's pulled along, he'll be in full view.
They all seem to be just busy pecking, not really worrying about anything.
No, there's none really heads up. You can see the rooster down there. He's the one that's really looking around most.
He should be the one who's the looker.
Let's see if he picks up on it.
Wow. That is an amazing response, isn't it?
They're very interested in it.
They're not fools, are they?
It's something new in their environment, which is interested them.
Yeah, they've all extended their necks, haven't they?
Yeah,
to have a good look.
They're having a look up and over, aren't they? But
it's a stuffed fox, and they know it.
Yeah, they've probably seen real foxes,
Yeah.
haven't they, moving naturally.
Certainly.
And I mean, that's a pretty smooth-moving fox.
I'm impressed that the chickens weren't fooled. I thought even a stuffed fox might send them running. But chickens see movement at double the speed of human vision. Where we see quick movement as a blur, they see the detail. So they can distinguish between a naturally moving predator and a stuffed one on rails in a fraction of a second. And chickens' eyes are even more finely tuned. Their left and right eyes act independently. Their right eye concentrates on finding food, while the left eye is on alert for predators or prey. With such acute vision for movement, it's not surprising that chickens are pretty good predators themselves. Yes, that's right, chickens hunt. And it's certain death for any mouse or frog that strays into a chicken run. Because chickens will hunt and kill with devastating speed. When Minnie catches her prey, she'll run with it to get away from the others and keep the meat to herself. She'll then beat it about a bit and swallow it whole. There's still a fair bit of wild behaviour in these domesticated birds after all. Despite Harry's enthusiastic attempts to mate with Minnie, hens don't need cockerels around for them to produce eggs. None of the eggs we eat have been fertilised. A big factor as to why we keep chickens is of course the fact they do lay eggs. A source of protein that we don't need to kill the bird to get at. We eat 30 million eggs every day in Britain alone. That's nearly 11,000 million a year. Now, everyone knows that hens lay eggs, but how is an egg formed inside a chicken? Well, I'm going to show you using this snooker ball and this section from a pair of tights. Now, the yolk is released from the ovary into a structure called the oviduct, and you must imagine that this is inside a chicken. Now, once it's released, it passes into the oviduct, and it hangs around for about 15 minutes, and this is the time where the yolk can be fertilised or not. It then travels on a bit further down its journey to an area where the white of the egg is added, the albumin. So you can imagine this is the yolk there, and that contains all the moisture that the developing embryo is going to need. Now this structure moves further down the oviduct till it gets to an area where two membranes are stretched over it to form this, which is a bit like a squashy egg, really. Now, I've made this by leaving a hen's egg in vinegar for a couple of days. And if you look closely, you can see the yolk inside moving around. Now, if the hen was to lay this, it would be useless. It would split open, plus the hen couldn't really sit on it to incubate it. So what it needs is a hard shell. So this moves further down to another area called the shell gland. Now, this is where the hard outer shell is secreted on, and it's a mixture of calcium carbonate and proteins. And once that's secreted all the way around, it hardens off. This takes about 20 hours, then it's ready to be laid. Now, the interesting thing about eggs are always laid with a fat end first. So it comes out like that every single time, forming a perfect egg. Once the egg is laid, half an hour later, the whole process begins again. Isn't nature amazing? The hens are turning in now, all going home to roost. There are a few pecks over who gets the best perch or nest blocks. But eventually, everyone's settled and has their place for the night. And in the morning, all these girls will be laying an egg. So far, I've discovered that chickens have a rigid pecking order and can avoid predators well. But now, I want to find out if they can learn new things. Just how clever are they? I've asked 4 animal behaviour students from Exeter University to put Jane's chickens to the test, to see if these birds can discriminate between human symbols.
Right, how you doing, guys?
All right then.
Now, what are you doing with these chickens here?
Well, basically, we're going to teach them to discriminate between shapes, stars and circles.
Right, so the end result, hopefully, a bird will turn up and go, right, I'm going for stars or circles.
Yeah.
And you think these guys can do that?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So the students are going to train Jane's chickens to discriminate between stars and circles, to find out if the bird brains can learn quickly or not. We're using food to motivate the chickens. Most animals can be taught in this way, but will the chickens be able to do it? For our hens, this is going to be a real test of learning power and memory. The students have a bit of time to train them, so I'm going to leave them to it. Jane runs a very efficient operation here, but there would be no need for her to rescue these birds if we hadn't changed the way we farm chickens in the last 50 years. During the Second World War, there were severe food shortages in Britain. Eggs were rationed, and for much of the time, only imported powdered egg was available. After the war, there was a huge drive to increase domestic food production, and chickens were seen as a big part of the answer. In the 1940s, chickens were a common sight in the British countryside. They were mostly kept for eggs and would only be killed for meat when the egg-laying days were over. Chicken was neither a common or particularly cheap meat. Until the 1950s, rabbit was more popular on British dinner tables. But in 1953, a British farmer managed to introduce a new hybrid chicken from America into the UK. It was specially bred for a new way of rearing chickens, the factory farms. On these farms, there were two types of chicken, one for eating and one for laying eggs. And today, no chicken we eat has ever laid an egg. There was a revolution in the British diet. In 1950, British consumers only ate 1 million chickens a year. By the 60s, it was a different story.
200 million chickens get eaten every year in Britain. A further 60 million spend their lives laying eggs. Enough, it's reckoned, for each of us to have an egg a day, every day of the year.
Chicken became central to the British diet. The new intensive farms became the main method of rearing chickens. Humans have shaped and changed chickens enormously. We've changed how quickly they grow and how frequently they lay eggs. But how far have we changed their nature? Today, I'm going to help Jane collect the latest consignment of battery hens. I want to see how they adapt to their newfound freedom.
Last 2 crates, Jim, please.
So we're picking up how many chickens today?
Oh, it's a very small collection today. It's just over 100, so...
You're going to get 100 chickens in this little van?
Yeah, I am, yeah.
So it's a bit like a military operation, this, isn't it?
It is, yeah, it is. It works really well, though, Jim. I've had lots of practice, and it'll mean a lot of happy hens at the end of the day.
Brilliant.
OK?
Okay. A bit like the Batmobile.
It is, isn't it?
It's the Henmobile.
It is, something like that. We're away.
Jane's charity rescued 60,000 battery hens last year, and they get around 1,200 off to new homes every week. The farm we're going to isn't far from Jane's place, and the farmers agreed to let Jane take 125 chickens who would otherwise be going for the chop.
OK, Jim. Here we are.
Right.
Here they are, girls. Hi, girls. Ready to
Wow.
go to your new homes.
There are 2,000 chickens in this shed, and they've spent their whole lives indoors.
There she is, first one.
She's nice, Nick.
She's in beautiful condition. Nicely feathered. There we go.
Yeah. Great. Perfect. Thank you.
After 18 months as egg layers, these birds become less productive. And if they weren't going with Jane, they'd soon be turned into cat food or chicken paste.
All right, Flapper.
Whoop. Your turn. Right.
Not a lot of room for them in here, is there, really?
No, it's a little bit tight, but, you know, this is how caged eggs are produced, Jim.
And it's not just the eggs you're buying in a box of 6 eggs, it's all the stuff that goes into, like, mayonnaise and...
Yeah, 60% of the eggs from these birds go into processed foods, cakes, pastas, mayonnaise, as you say.
It's hot in here, it stinks, and the noise is unbelievable.
It's nice to be getting them out, Jim, isn't it?
It's lovely, isn't it? It's a rewarding job, this.
It is. Hi, ladies. Your turn. You coming out? You coming out today? You lucky chickens.
Chickens can survive in cramped conditions. They can live just about anywhere. This is one of the reasons there are more of them in the world than any other bird. After the dust and noise, it's a relief to get outside.
God, this is the first bit of daylight they've seen.
It is, yes. It's a whole new world out here for them. And see how pale her face is.
Yeah, so
And
it's
even-
like anyone who's been inside all their life, they're going to have pale skin, but
Yes.
now they're going to be rehomed.
Yeah, they are. They've all got homes
Fantastic.
waiting for them, which is just fantastic.
Brilliant.
I can't wait to see how these birds react to being in an open space for the first time. The chickens' new owners will be arriving in the next couple of hours, so we'll get these girls out in the barn and let them adjust to life outside the cages.
Come on, girls.
This is the first time they've been out in an environment like this, so it's going to be totally new to them and quite bewildering. And already, some of them are starting to peck around and have a scratch, and so I don't think it'll be too long before these guys get back to being proper chickens. There you are.
The chickens quickly start scratching and foraging on the barn floor. They're not sitting here terrified, they're exploring. Their natural behaviour appears almost instantly. But one last thing we need to help them with are those claws.
Next stage, Jim, is a bit of toenail clipping.
Right, because some of them have got pretty long nails, haven't they?
Yes, they have. Yeah, they've been living on a wire floor for the last 3 years. So
Yeah.
obviously there's nothing for them to naturally wear down the claws.
Yeah. Right, so if I catch them up,
Yes, please.
you'll do the cutting.
I will.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh, this one's got long. This one's like a witch. Look at the claws on that one.
She's been growing these all year, look, Jim. They're real long claws. She wouldn't be able to scratch around easily with nails length, so it's just a very simple operation. We'll just clip that off. She'll never need to have them done again because, of course, as she now becomes a free-range chicken, she'll naturally keep them down.
She'll scratch
Yeah,
around and
that's
keep,
right.
keep her own
Yeah,
toenails down.
definitely, yeah.
Once we've clipped all their claws, our chickens will be ready for their new owners. Jane has a waiting list of eager chicken keepers, and they get the nod when any new birds need a home. And Jane checks that everyone taking the chickens is well prepared.
Have you ever had chicken?
We have years
Oh,
ago,
so
yes.
you know how to handle
Yes.
it? Okay, that's fine.
Having seen these birds in battery cages, it's great to see them getting the chance to live as proper chickens.
There we go, little chicken. You can go too.
Bought every box in the house, haven't you? even the cat basket.
From cage to fur-lined cat basket. What a lucky chicken you are. Bye.
There are some of Jane's chickens that can't be easily rehomed. Some of them are injured and some are sick. But one of them has a bit of a strange problem. This is Lloyd, the cockerel. Jane rescued him from a battery cage just 2 weeks ago. Cockerels are not normally found in commercial hen houses. But Lloyd had slipped in amongst the hens and no one had noticed he wasn't laying any eggs. We're about to introduce him to the girls in the top run. And having never learnt from other cockerels or lived in a proper flock of chickens, it might be a bit confusing for him.
So he's going to go and meet some new ladies.
Yeah, it's his big moment. Exciting time for him.
Is he going to spring into action?
Yeah, I hope so.
Yes.
This is it.
Lady time. Right.
Okay, Jim, you put him down somewhere here and let him do his stuff.
All right, Lloyd.
See
Here
what
you go.
happens.
Here we are, look. And have these ladies ever seen a cockerel
No,
before?
they haven't.
So he's something completely different.
He is, and they're all coming over to sort of like see what kind of specimen he is. And they've never seen something with such a fine pair of wattles as he's got, sort of dangling
Lovely
down,
pair of
so.
wattles, isn't he? And he's got lovely plumage as
He
well.
has,
He's handsome.
yeah, he is, yeah.
Both the hens and Lloyd are a bit wary at first.
They're going to find it a bit strange to begin with.
Go on, girls. Come on.
Let's see what we've got for you today.
So what we've provided him with then is basically, it's a harem of ladies.
It is, yeah. He's going to think he's got his birthday, Christmas and Easter all come together at once. He's a little bit bewildered.
Oh,
Ooh.
he's
One of the
henpecked.
girls sort of challenging him there.
What's going on, Lloyd, eh?
Lloyd isn't really acting like a proper cockerel. Usually a rooster would get in here and dominate these hens. He should be attracting the girls over for titbits and letting them have first go. But no, he's eating all the food himself.
At the moment, they're almost challenging him. They look real.
Oh, now look. Come on, Lloyd.
So she must be the dominant hen in
Yes.
this flock. But he's the cockerel.
Lloyd's got to
Yeah, he's a
stand
bit
up
taken
himself.
aback. Look.
He's like, hang on a minute, this is
Come
not
on,
going to
Lloyd.
happen.
Come on.
Come on, Lloyd.
Lloyd. Show us what you're made of.
So that was a bit embarrassing, really, for him, because he just got beaten up by the hen in front of all the other hens.
He did, yeah. He didn't really. He's not very butch.
No, it's going to take him a couple of days to get over that
I
one, at
think
least.
it will. Yeah, I think it will.
There's something else very strange about Lloyd. Normally, all cockerels would be killed at chick stage before getting near a battery farm. So what's going on?
Probably Lloyd either slipped the net, or it could be that he actually started life as a hen.
What, and then changed into a
Yes,
cockerel?
yes, it does happen.
That is
With the
incredible.
crow, the lot.
It's astounding to think that Lloyd may have started life as a female, but Jane tells me that she's seen this happen before. Back in 2008, one of her hens started crowing, grew spurs, a coxcomb and wattles, and ended up a fully fledged cockerel. George the hermaphrodite chicken became a tabloid sensation. I really want to know if Lloyd is one of these rare sex-change birds. It would be amazing if he was. But how can a hen become a cockerel? This remarkable transformation can happen when one of the chicken's ovaries is damaged. That causes a jump in testosterone, making the hen grow new plumage, spurs, a wattle and comb. Sometimes they even crow, but they can't reproduce. Once Lloyd's settled down, Jane can take a few feathers off him and send them for DNA analysis. Then we'll find out if he's all man or a little bit of a lady. Having never been with his mother or in a flock, it would take Lloyd some time to adapt. Jane has another two new free-range boys, Bjorn and Benny, to put in with her hens. Now we'll see how cockerels should behave towards their flock. But first, we're going to have to catch them.
You go round that sort of corner.
Yep.
I'll come in this way.
Right, so if I go round here and I
Yes.
move them down towards you,
Yeah.
you move in.
Go in.
Right, okay.
Good.
Right, fellas. If only they knew what we're trying to do for them.
I know. A bit more further down. A bit more down. A bit more down.
Come on, Jane, grab it, Jane.
Bloody fast! Bloody fast! Too quick for us, Jim.
You got one?
Yeah, got it. Okay, so these guys are going to have a really pleasant surprise.
Yeah, so how many girls we got in there for them?
Probably about 15, 20.
Right, 15 girls to
Two
two cockerels. That's not a bad ratio, is it?
No, not too bad. Now, just hope these guys have got some manners. Gentle with the hens. They're not
Right.
used to active guys like these.
Pop them straight down.
Ready?
Okay, here we go. Ooh.
Bjorn and Benny are quick to show who's boss. They know how to handle a bunch of hens.
He's the one I think might do some of the jumping, and he's looking at them in a certain way. He has got the glint in his eye.
And the cockerels do have a few tricks up their sleeves when it comes to attracting the ladies.
They do sort of let them know when there's some particularly tasty sort of tidbits. As they're sort of rooting around, if the cockerels find something that's a particularly tasty morsel,
Yeah.
they won't eat it themselves. They'll actually make a little tick, tick, tick noise and attract the hens over.
Right.
And that sort of obviously is nice for the girls and
Yeah.
gives the boys an opportunity to sort of...
Yeah, because it's not a one sort of way road, is it? Because
No.
the cockerels will pick some food up and keep dropping it for the
That's
hens.
right, yes.
But when the hens get close enough,
Yeah, they're in.
Yeah,
they're
they do
in
their
for the
job.
mount. Yeah, they do their job, yeah.
Well,
Procreation.
after a while, these guys are going to get used to their surroundings, and then they should try and mount all these hens.
Yes, they would do, yes.
Right.
Spreading their genes, basically, as far as they can.
Yeah.
But as Bjorn and Benny strut their stuff, their presence has caused upset in the neighbouring run. Jane's bantam cockerel, William, is not happy with love rivals moving in next door.
I mean, he is beside himself
Yeah, he's
because
not
we've
happy.
collected all your best-looking hens
Yes.
and let these two strangers in.
Yes, he's not a happy cockerel this
he's
morning
not.
at all. And he will defend his position here as best as he can, even though size-wise he's a lot smaller.
Yeah.
He will do his utmost to see
He'll
these
take
two
on,
off.
Take on these two,
Yes, he would.
even through
Yes,
the wire.
Yes, he would, yeah.
And that's exactly what happens. It's a good thing there's a fence between them, otherwise there could be serious injuries. When cocks fight, their wings go down and their ruffs go up like lions' manes, making them look bigger and more impressive. All this because the position of top cockerel is at stake. Cockerels can be pretty aggressive, and watching these two fight makes me think about why we might have domesticated chickens 8,000 years ago.
It might not all have been about eggs and meat. People would have seen chickens fighting in the wild naturally, and that would have appealed to our bloodlust. And maybe that's the reason why we took them in the first place.
Eventually, they both back down. Feathers may have been ruffled, but they still have their pride. William will stay king on his side of the fence and warns Benny to stay away. I'm going to leave the farm now and go off to Bristol University, where I've heard they've done some remarkable work with chickens. Professor Christy Nichol, an expert in animal welfare, has studied exactly how hens teach their chicks. Before chicks hatch, a hen and her youngsters are already communicating. The chicks cheep to each other, and the mother hen makes reassuring noises to let them know she's there. The family bond is made long before they emerge from their shells.
Right, how are we getting on? How are the eggs?
Yes, she's doing really well. We think we've got at least one chick actually hatched already.
She's quite protective, I imagine.
She's definitely protective.
I can see you've got the gloves
Yeah,
on.
I've got my
Go on
gloves
then.
on. So I'm going to give it a go.
Yeah.
Just have a little look underneath.
There we are. Yeah, that's not overly happy.
No, but that's fair enough because I am.
Look. Oh. Yeah,
Yeah.
look at that, look.
That our first chick.
Fantastic.
She's obviously not going to be very pleased.
Can I have
Yeah,
the tiny little things, aren't
yeah,
they? Look at that. Just beginning its life,
yeah.
but yet...
But she really wants that one back.
We've got to put it back. Oh, 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 oh. You want to put it back and that's it.
She's a good mum. Now, when the chicks hatch, their eyes are open. They're running around. They're pretty independent. They're able to feed themselves as well, aren't they?
Yes, these chicks, when they hatch, they're very much ready to go.
Yeah.
So they hatch and they're able to do most of their behaviours almost straight away.
Chicks hatch fully feathered and mobile. But their relationship with their mother is also important. Professor Nicol has conducted a study showing that mother hens will actively teach their chicks and point out when they're doing something wrong. Previously, this behaviour of pointing out mistakes had only been observed in primates. If a mother hen is trained to expect mealworms in a yellow bowl, when she sees her chicks eating from a red bowl, she will observe their behaviour as wrong and try to correct it. She calls them away from it, pecks in the yellow bowl, and displays tit-bitting behaviour, picking up bits of food and dropping them. Her aim is to attract the chicks to yellow. But the chicks pay no attention at first. She will also bill wipe, rubbing her beak on the floor next to the yellow bowl, all to attract the chicks to eat from yellow. She carries on calling and pecking, and at last the chicks obey their mother and go to feed from the yellow bowl. Although they know that the red bowl has mealworms in it, they reject their own experience and follow Mum. Once the hen has communicated successfully with her chicks, she relaxes. But can chickens learn new behaviour from humans? Back on Jane's farm, the students have had a few training sessions with their hens. We wanted to see if they could accomplish a feat of memory and learning to distinguish between different shapes.
Right, guys, how are you getting on?
Yeah.
Have you started to bond with your particular hen?
Yeah, definitely. You get to pick up like the certain traits that they come across. Like each of them have got their own individual personality. Like for this one, it's quite crazy because she just uses her feet for everything.
And what about your hen?
This is Phyllis.
Hello, Phyllis.
She's had really good concentration from the start, and she doesn't wander off. She stands.
I love that idea of a chicken having a lot of concentration.
Yeah, she
That's
does.
fantastic. But they've all really picked it up, do you think? I mean, over the period of time that you've been training them, have they got there yet or not?
Yeah.
Are you confident they're going to do it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, shall we see?
This is how the students trained the chickens. First of all, they put live mealworms in a tray. The chickens learned that the trays contain treats. Then they covered the holes with paper so the chickens couldn't see the worms. The chickens remembered that the tray contained a treat. They quickly learnt to peck through the paper to get to the tasty mealworms. Then came the tricky stage. They introduced shapes and only put the worms under the shape they wanted the chickens to go for.
Right, let's have a look then, guys. How did they get on? Let's have a look at yours. Now, yours was just after circles.
Yes.
Right? Well, look at that. That's a good one. That's a good one. She's got a star there.
Yeah.
Circle, 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 circle. Fantastic. She only got it wrong on one star.
Yeah, that was second to last, so she only had like one more to go.
Yeah.
So these two next to each other, maybe I can, because she went like this, this, and this, and that.
That's
order.
amazing, though, isn't it?
Yeah, she.
That is absolutely
I
amazing.
think she's come pretty far now.
She has, she has. And what about yours?
Pretty pleased with that.
Oh, that is one clever chicken. Look at that.
In just 3 training sessions, the hens learned to recognise that they would only find worms under the symbol they were trained to go for, whether it was stars or circles. The speed of chicken learning is exceptional, and once they've learned which shape to go for, they can get round the box in less than 40 seconds.
Well done, Pretty.
Do you know what? I'm bowled over by Jane's ex-battery hens. I know chickens do anything for mealworms, but those birds weren't pecking at random. They'd learnt. They knew that if they pecked at a certain shape, they'd get a reward, and they went for those shapes immediately. So I'm pretty impressed.
Chickens have been trained to do just about anything.
Would you believe a basketball-playing chicken?
They learn faster than dogs and respond much more quickly. Chickens are such quick learners because they're ground-nesting birds. Chicks can't fly or run fast, so from the moment they hatch, they have to be aware of everything around them just to survive. It's my last day on the farm, and Jane's got the test results back for Lloyd the reluctant cockerel. And it turns out he's not a sex-changing hen after all.
Yeah, look, there he is.
Yeah.
Oh, he's looking better, isn't he?
He's not doing too bad at all, yeah.
He looks a bit more sure of himself now,
does,
doesn't
yeah.
he, now he knows
Yeah.
the results?
His legs aren't good. He's still a little bit wobbly on his
Yeah,
leg.
he's got that sort of comic walk, hasn't he,
Yes,
still?
he has,
don't
yeah.
you know?
Administrative silly walks,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But he's, you know, he's been in a cage, so it's going to take him time to sort of build his muscle tone up, I think.
He's moving around a lot more. His
Yeah.
comb looks lovely and red.
He does, yeah. He's actually really looking quite healthy. And actually, he's integrated with the girls really well.
Right.
He's learning to communicate with them better.
But has he integrated as just another chicken, or has he integrated as a cockerel? You know, dominating the females, telling them where to go, here's food, trying to mate with them.
It's a halfway house, actually.
Is it?
Yes, it is. He's actually displaying some cockerel behaviours,
Right.
but they're not terribly strong. For example, if I throw down some of this food,
Yeah.
normally I would expect a cockerel to go to tell the other girls that there's something tasty here.
He should communicate to the hens that
He
there's
should.
food there.
Yes, he should.
But at the moment, all he's doing is just
Eating it.
Yeah, yeah.
On the other hand, he is actually trying his luck at mounting the girls.
Is he?
Yes, he is. Yeah, he's tried once, twice. With
So he does the wing down little sort of strutting
just
dance.
beginning to. Yeah, the foreplay is a little bit weak,
Yeah,
but he
the
has
foreplay.
actually he has actually mounted one or two.
Poor old Lloyd, weak on the foreplay.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's learning.
He's
though.
learning,
It's an
he's
art.
learning.
When Lloyd arrived here, he had no idea how to behave as a cockerel. But his instinctive wild behaviour is gradually coming back. But the hens seem to like him, and I think he's well on his way to becoming a proper cockerel. We eat more of these birds than any other creature on the planet. Their eggs are a staple in our diet. But just because we can keep chickens in flocks of thousands, feed them anything and rely on them surviving, doesn't mean they deserve any less respect.
Being on Jane's farm this week has made me look at chickens completely differently. And if you think about it, despite human beings domesticating them for 8,000 years, most chickens could step back into the jungle tomorrow and survive quite happily without us. Because beneath those familiar feathers still remains a wild and instinctive bird.
Hogging the limelight next Thursday at 8, it's The Private Life of Pigs. But next tonight, BBC Two Northern Ireland is bringing the past to life with the Victorian Pharmacy.